And welcome to a special episode of Hyperspace Heroes. This is Brown Leader signing in. All wings report in.
Brown 2 signing in.
Brown 2 needs to check his O2 levels in his cockpit. Brown 4 signing in.
Brown 7 signing in.
Brown 7, welcome.
Welcome,
Sprocket
Brown
has
7.
joined us from Yubcast. Matt from Yubcast has joined us for a special episode. We're here live at day 2 at ICCC on the ECPC TV stage, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we're here for our special episode. Nice. And we wanted to bring Matt on from Yubcast. One, it's the first time we've had a chance to meet face-to-face. Matt's been on our show. I think he's been on the show the most so far. Him and Jamie from Yubcast.
It's because he actually agreed to come back.
I know, right? But
We didn't scare him off the first
one of the things I love about ICCC is that we're getting to see all of our friends that we've made over the interwebs through podcasting, and really exciting because we're gonna meet some more friends later on in the day on the stage here. But we wanted to have Matt on today for our episode. Matt, why don't you tell everybody a little quick about what your podcast, Yubcast?
Yeah, so Yubcast is your Star Wars cartoon podcast. That's how we introduce every show. We're a review show where we talk about whatever bullshit we think about in the beginning, and then we review a cartoon episode. We started by reviewing all the Droids episodes. Check the t-shirt. And then now we're doing Clone Wars, and at the end of every episode I roll a d20, and if I roll a 1, we have to review an Ewoks episode. So we've done 4 Ewoks episodes so far, and
I'm sorry.
it's awesome. Oh,
They're
so
great.
it's a comedy show about Star Wars cartoons, and we try to keep it light.
Nice.
Try to.
Yeah, right on. No, it's definitely there on my regular rotation, along with the guys from Rule the Galaxy and some other great podcasts, Force Ghost Conversations, and some other shows that we've become really good friends with. But ICCC is all about collecting. That's at the core of it. So real quick before we jump into our main topic, what are some of the highlights? Any cool items you guys have picked up so far? We're on day 2. I know for us, we came down early. We started shopping even before the con started.
Yep. 20 hammerheads so far, and I think there was like eight gonks, and yeah, the army is growing.
DB?
Hang on, I gotta see if Mrs. DB's listening. I have
I
not
didn't
spent
think about
any
that.
money. No.
I didn't think about it. I take that back. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. No. I just. Yes.
Yes.
No grails so far, but I have picked up plenty of beaters and loose figures to put in the dioramas.
And for Mrs. DB, they were cheap.
Yes,
Right
thank
on.
you.
Right on.
Thank you,
Absolutely. So this is our third ICCC, but Matt, I know this is your first one, and initial thoughts so far.
Yeah, so last night, one of my sons, I brought my family with me, so my wife and kids are here. They're in line to get a photo with Warwick Davis right now, so that's where they are. So one of my sons and I and my wife went around to the room sales last night and picked up a bunch of beaters and loose figures. That was fun. And then just now in the show floor, I bought a Return of the Jedi beer stein because one of my jobs is I work in the beer industry. And so my wife found it and she's like, "Oh, you got to get this." I was like, "True, accurate." So I bought it.
So they're in line to get a picture of Warwick Davis, and you're in line here to get a picture with us.
Yep.
Nice.
All right.
Sweet. All right. So main topic, and one of the reasons I wanted to have you on with us, Matt, today, since you are the Star Wars animation podcast, is I wanted to talk about why right now in current Star Wars content, why animation is really where it's at in terms of storytelling and why it's better than live action.
It's a controversial statement.
It is. That's why we're
Very.
here. Well, we've talked fuel out, and we've talked, and there's a show that can't be named, so I figured we'd skip those topics. And we start another controversy right here at ICCC, which is why animation is better than live action right now.
Yeah, so as we go through sort of the history of animation and Star Wars that we've done on our show, I think when Tartakovsky launched his Clone Wars miniseries on Cartoon Network, that displayed what you can get away with in cartoons. It's a complete reinterpretation of the media. It's a complete reinterpretation of the story, and Star Wars is so biologically diverse and geographically diverse. It costs an insane amount of money to build sets and have costumes and things, and it costs a lot to make animation too, but it's an order of magnitude cheaper. And so you can make beautiful, you can tell the exact same stories with the exact same complexity and have these beautiful settings and have crazy aliens and crazy sets and do it for 1/10 of the cost. I think it's beautiful. It's a big shame right now that there is no upcoming animation series that we know about. I know that they're hiring, Lucasfilm Animation just hired a bunch of people, so presumably something's in the works, but there's nothing that we know about. And I think also live action is leaning a lot on animation to sort of fill the gaps in with all the CGI that they're adding in and things like that anyway. So I've made the argument on the show, it's like, at what point is Ahsoka no longer a live action show? It isn't an animated show. But obviously we like this uncanny valley we're in, and we can tell the difference in between the two. But I think, as far as animation is concerned, you can do so much. There was no way to do Bad Batch live action. Hard stop. That show would never have worked in live action. It was a beautiful story told over 3 seasons in animation, and you couldn't have gotten away with it in live action.
That would have been very cost prohibitive what they were doing.
Yeah, it would have looked like garbage too.
Yeah.
But I just think it's a wonderful platform that I hope Lucasfilm continues to invest in and help and tell stories. I've often argued that we should have like the Batman style, where every year or so they release a 90-minute movie, a cartoon movie of Batman, right? Like The Killing Joke and all of those. They've done 15 of those. Just do that in Star Wars. 90-minute movie.
Canon or non-canon.
Doesn't matter.
So then,
That's the other thing. The animation is now exploring non-canon subjects, right? With visions. Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Lego shows, which are phenomenal.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I got to say the latest Lego one I'm a fan of, and I think they would need to bring those writers over into live action and have them
And bring
do
us
some
Darth
stuff.
Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar.
Darth
Absolutely.
Jar Jar.
Right.
Live.
My kids have arrived, and we have not watched the new one yet, so spoiler alert.
All right.
Oh,
fair
fair
enough.
enough. Good spoiler.
Okay, back to our review of the Barbie movie. I had to squeeze it in somewhere, guys. Come on.
Who's subbing in for me? I'm out of here.
So, well, no spoilers, but I will say I think the latest Lego one has been my favorite one so far.
Rebuild the Galaxy?
Yeah, Rebuild the Galaxy.
It's- We were just talking about it this morning at breakfast,
Yeah,
so
no,
we're
it's-
definitely gonna watch it.
it's
Can
a
I tell
great
you guys a secret? I haven't watched it yet.
All right, we're subbing in him.
I'm coming over. I'm going over and watching with you guys.
So,
Here,
so
you're invited.
Sprocket's given us quite a bit to think about. Scruffy, any thoughts?
Lego watching movie party in my room tonight.
But back on the main topic, which is
Back on the main topic.
animation versus live action.
Prior to Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, I wouldn't have thought animation would have had a prominent place in the storytelling. Of course, being old school and remembering those fabulous droids and Ewoks cartoons, I wouldn't have went there. But seeing what they're able to do for like you said, 1/10 of the cost, I think that's where it's at right now. Especially after the show that shall not be mentioned, which I didn't think was that bad.
What
but
show are we
apparently
talking about? Acolyte?
Oh, he said it.
He said it. It wasn't me this time. But, and of course, there's always going to be those examples that didn't work. I got 2 words for you. Resistance, seasons 1 and 2. Okay, so it's like 5 words. And, is that Brett Dykman? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, there's
Thank you.
there's the fan. There's the fan.
You're the reason they gave it 2 seasons, Brent.
Yes.
I'll be the reason they give it a 3rd.
There's the next animated series. We got it now.
Well, but animation is just like the live action. You don't have to love all of it.
Oh, I pick on the Resistance a little bit.
It's easy to
It's
pick on
actually growing on me
Resistance.
a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. At least it's not the Barbie movie. So I think it's got a place. I think it's the future.
DB?
I think it doesn't have to be the future. I think live action could go hand in hand. I'd like to see a movie every year or every other year. I think initially Disney tried, to put it out in volume rather than quality. I think, honestly, I did not get into the Clone Wars animation until much later, and then I binged it during the COVID shutdowns, and that's when it really took hold with me. And like Scruffy, I don't hate the show, which will not be named, but it wasn't the best either. So I'd like to see that story continued in one form or another. I don't care if it's live action, but they tease us with a few things that they could move forward in some form, and animation may be that route.
I would watch an animated Acolyte sequel for sure. I think
Agree.
a continuation of Acolyte would be better than the first season because of what they introduced in the Acolyte, and I think it's a mistake to kill everything just because it's not working right out of the gate.
Yeah, it was the first chapter of a much larger story. And I have a feeling Disney will retool it and give it a different name and continue the story in one format or another. That's just my opinion.
But this goes-
I hope so, because there's a lot of threads there that need to be finished.
Correct.
But this goes back to my argument about Star Wars animation always, is if you look at the early episodes of Clone Wars, they're not good animation.
No, they're not.
They're poorly animated, and if you read the interviews and watch the interviews with the animators, they were doing something that no one had ever done before, working with a brand new platform that they invented, and they were trying to get it to work. And I've used this piece of trivia on my podcast several times. In the beginning, they were spending $50,000 a minute
Oh, my.
to make those episodes. That's what the average cost was for the first season. And there are animation mistakes like Anakin's hair disappearing for a little bit. But
Why do you look at the bald guy when you say that?
Oh, that's awesome.
But the point is if I think if Clone Wars were released today in our current Star Wars environment, it would be shredded by the fan base, right? Saying that this is garbage, we shouldn't continue this. But only someone as crazy as Lucas would have been like I've already written 75 episodes, we're going to plow
Right.
through this. We're going to get to the end no matter what. And $50,000 a minute is how much it cost him to do that. And that is not a trivial amount of money, even for him. But that platform continues into Rebels, into Resistance, into Bad Batch, into Visions, and allows things like Lego Star Wars, and all of that is good to me. Like I think we are the benefactors of his stubbornness and unwillingness to let something go, even if it wasn't working to start.
Yep. Well, like Lucas says, it what does he say? It rhymes or
It rhymes. It's like poetry.
because you look back to ILM and what they were doing in the mid 70s, they created all the special effects that gave us the Matrix and the Lord of the Rings and so on and so forth. Now they did that with animation. And I go back to season 7 of the Clone Wars, which was cinematic in quality.
When Ahsoka was introduced in the Clone Wars movie in the theaters, people hated it. People hated that character, hated her, thought it was stupid. There were articles written on websites at the time saying Anakin's gonna have to kill this Padawan by the end of the series, otherwise it breaks canon. Now Ahsoka's one of the most beloved characters in all of Star Wars because you stuck with it, because you told her whole story from start to finish.
Yeah.
Right?
There was Jar Jar level hatred toward
There
that
was
character.
there was Jar Jar level hatred. Yes.
Well, and I think that goes to the core of, kind of one of the core arguments for why animation is doing better than live action right now is because it's giving the time to let characters get flushed out, to breathe life into them. The current structure of 8 episodes for live action, at 25 to 33 minutes an episode is just not enough story development time. And the other piece being that with animation, and we talked about it when I was on your show, was, you had brought up the point that with animation, how many more worlds do you see? How many more species do you see that interact with the characters than you do in live action? Those prosthetics, to talk in some of those prosthetics, that's kind of hard. One of the little subtle things I heard about negative points about Andor was that, they didn't have enough aliens. It was too much humans. But when you're having that much heavy dialogue, you're not going to sit there and watch Akbar talk, on a 5-minute rant, about something, and that's a little hard to do. But in animation, you can do it all day long,
Right.
And so I think that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I think it's just, animation is killing it. I think story-wise.
Yeah, once you have a library of models, you can really get away with a lot, and that's what Lucasfilm has now. They have hundreds of alien species, all with walking, talking models, and they can just swap them out like paper dolls,
Right on.
Like Barbie dolls?
like Barbie dolls.
Yeah.
I'm just Ben.
That's all I got today, gang. Sorry.
Good. I'm looking forward to that.
No, I meant that's the
All
one
right.
topic.
So all right. So hopefully we started another topic that'll keep going in other episodes here throughout the rest of the ICCC. Matt, I want to thank you for joining us today. Hopefully you're having a good time. Everybody's having a good time at ICCC. Keep tuned to the ECPC TV stage here at ICCC. We're going to be on stage again later today as well. We're going to be talking to more guests. Also, if you're in the Nashville area, come on over. There's a lot of celebrity guests right within reach. You can meet a lot of them, see a lot of them, talk to a lot of them. It's a super fan-friendly event. And with that, I think we'll get out of here, guys. So this is Brown Leader signing off for the crew, and you have been watching Hyperspace Heroes. That's no moon.
Moon.